Hey everyone, guess what? We're here for the March energy update. I cannot believe it. I mean, I literally thought I had another week or two before I needed to do this, but it's next week. So I'm actually doing this on the weekend. Hopefully you'll see this out on Sunday or Monday. So yes, welcome to March already. And for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, it is very welcomed given some of the winter that many of us have had. Not so much where I live, but there have been some parts of the United States that have really been slammed. So looking forward to spring. And then the rest of you in the Southern Hemisphere are getting ready to move into your fall. And we also have the equinox coming up on the 20th. So got a lot of, they just said it again, upliftment energy coming. They also had said that it was upliftment energy for February. So let's, before we get into what's coming for March or what I'm seeing for March and they're bringing to me, let's talk a little bit about February. And I'm going to give it to you from a little bit from my perspective. Well, not so much that, but some events that occurred too. Apparently, and I found out about this kind of synchronistically, I wasn't really looking, that we had a pretty decent sized solar flare. I want to say it was on the 17th of February. And I just remember, it takes, or 17th or 19th, something like that. Anyway, it takes a few days for it to really land here, apparently. And as it turns out, I remember feeling super fatigued on a couple of days. I thought it was just because of, what would it have been, the new moon, I guess. Yeah, that would have been right over that last weekend, I think it was. Anyway, whenever it was, I just remember being incredibly fatigued. And it's a different kind of tired, a different kind of fatigue. I now know, because like I've said, as we go through this journey, we start understanding our patterns. And that's so important in this journey as we start going through awakening, because things are different for us. And we start understanding what our patterns are and how we feel. And when we know that, then it can be so helpful in understanding what's actually happening to us. And, keeping track of the cosmic events and all of those kinds of things. But anyway, I knew this was a fatigue that was not just I'm tired because, I don't know, I've been staying up too late kind of thing. It was a full-on body fatigue. And then I found out that we had this solar flare. So it was interesting because I don't do a lot of reflection back on the month's channels prior to that. However, you might recall that they brought in for February the sun, solar. They kept saying solar, a solar, something with the sun is, well, I think now what I'm getting is this. I'm just going to go out on a limb because this is what I've been given. A lot of us feel like there's going to be one, like a big solar flash, whoosh, and there's going to be so much shift and change across humanity, things that might also affect our technology. A lot of people wake up like all in one fell swoop. I'm not getting that. I'm getting this as a gradual process. And the other thing, well, let's talk about that for a minute. I'm getting that it's a gradual process where we'll have significant solar flares, but, and far be it from me to say, hey, if it does happen that way, come back and say, Carolyn, do you remember? And believe me, I will remember. But point is I'm not getting that it's one big event of a solar flare, flash kind of thing where we all are like, oh my gosh, this is shifting and changing everything we've ever known. Because it would be okay, they just said we've come too far. And remember, when I say we've come too far, you can argue the collective of humanity, we're just in a big mess. Well, yeah, we are. But this is really this first big time, at least in the modern era, where lightworkers, a huge ascension journey is happening with the collective. And this idea of us coming so far already. Okay, now they're talking about the tipping point. I guess we're already kind of getting into some future stuff. Anyway, so they're talking about tipping point, reaching a tipping point, but the point is what we do is we pull along others into this journey, right? Because we're magnetic. But what I'm getting with the solar situation, which has just started to come up in my visuals just this last month, really the whole sun thing, and how that affects us energetically. I am not getting one big event. I'm getting they just said a series. Okay, they just said a buildup. it feels to me like it's going to be more of a they just said repetitive kind of situation where we will start getting used to energetically our bodies. And again, that's why self-care is so important, right? But we will start getting used to this idea of having repetitive solar flares. Now, some of you keep track of all this. I don't keep track of any of it. I just happened to have that show up in my awareness that there was a big solar flash back in, and I know nothing really about it, back on, like I said, I think it was the 19th of February. But what they're showing is a series. So what they were showing, and they talked about this in November, was that something big was going to happen in the end of February as far as, and when we say big, we always think as humans like, oh my God, it's going to manifest and we're going to see it and it's going to be a thing. I think it's, and remember I said, I don't want to say just, but it could be energetic, and then it's actually manifesting energetically right now and shifting and changing us as light bodies, if that makes any sense. So they had kept bringing in this idea of a significant moment, the end of February, that would open this gateway for light workers to go through. And I'm going to tell you, I think this is what has happened. I really feel this. So here's what's happened to me in February. And we're all going to experience this in different ways. They just said it opens doors. Okay, this goes to Jennifer's and my video, opening and closing doors. This is the same thing. It's opening doors for us. So what happened with me is, and it's going to be, like I said, different for everyone, but what happened with me in February is all of a sudden, my upliftment had to do with the cosmic realm, with everything cosmic. Like, that's my focus now. I don't mean for my clients and doing that, but it's for me, for my personal journey right now. It's spending time, big picture, cosmically, everything that's showing up, what I'm reading, what I'm listening to, or what's just arriving in front of me, honestly, is from a big cosmic perspective, and putting this whole picture together the best I can, and my understanding and my growth and my learning. Because a lot of what my early journey was, which all of ours is typically, is this very internal, focused journey of healing, of awareness, of growing consciousness, which we're always growing in consciousness, but it was very personal, right? And very local, I'll just say, in that sense, and very focused on the human journey. What's happening with me now, this is my upliftment, and it came in just a flash, where all of a sudden, I am now taken out to my focus, and my interest has now shifted into this cosmic, I'll just call it cosmic understanding, everything cosmic, quantum information, how Earth even became Earth, how we even became a universe, a galaxy. It goes on and on and on, right? The star beings, really spending time on that, which I hadn't done a lot of that previously, other than when I do talk to Jennifer. But it had been a very internal journey. And, again, for my purpose, I talk about all these things with clients, and for you guys when I do videos. But the upliftment part for me, and you want to identify that, kind of think about that. How were you uplifted in this month? What doors opened and closed for you, right? And what doors did that thing that Jennifer and I were talking about, like boom, 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 boom. And then all of a sudden, you're kind of in a different space in some way. They just said it's a gradual approach. See, this is the solar part. Well, what I will tell you is this week also, I was again given a visual. This was actually in a client session, and there's more detail to it, but the point in this is that the visual that I saw was us individually, like light workers in their glass elevator. They're too, how you go into an elevator and you look out down into the pavilion of a hotel, and you're in your glass elevator and everybody else is down there. Well, that's our protective device, right? We're in our glass elevator, but we're still able to see all that's happening, right, on Earth and what's going on. But we keep rising up the floors, right? But guess what was powering us? This was so cool. I kept seeing this yellow, orange, beautiful light off to the right. Okay, here's our light workers in the glass elevator. Okay, and rising in frequency dimension. There's all the stuff going on down here in the pavilion in Earth, right? On the 3D. But what was over here on the right was bright yellow, white, and orange light. And then all of a sudden I realized, and they said to me, it's the sun. It's the sun. So what I then received, and we're going to get into March, but I want to set this up because I think it has something to do with what we're going to see here. And I know this is probably, I don't know. I mean, part of me, just as a human, as I talk about this, I'm like, what? So anyway, what I was told is those solar flares, there's actually a control mechanism. They actually can be controlled to assist us in our journey. I just heard timing devices too. Like, I don't know if any of you resonate with that at all. Again, most of what I channel is new information for me. I mean, the human kind of goes, wow, because I just channel and I just offer the information I get. But the human loves to kind of go, wow, are you kidding me? Really? Could that possibly be? Anyway, so my understanding has been as well that from the past that the sun is inhabited, whatever that means, right? But I just got this week that solar flares, and yes, the sun is a living, breathing being, but it is key to our ascension journey. So what they were showing is this, I don't want to say a pummeling, it was just this bright, beautiful light of just shining. And what I will say to you, and I'm just getting this now, in fact, I'm sitting here looking out my windows, too bad you can't see it, but beautiful blue skies, sunny day here, absolutely stunning. I have my back door open, but they really want us to take in the sun. They really want us to be able to individually also take in the sun. Thank it for what it's doing. But I am getting that we are in the midst of more and more of the solar. And what they showed me, and this was, I kind of laughed about this, they showed like somebody with like a blowtorch and they're like, and shooting out of it would be a solar flare, like, so that was their fun way of saying these are controlled to a great degree, or can be, is what I'm hearing. So I think where we're at, I'm just going to go out on a limb here with this. We're going to just kind of see what happens here. Is we are, I don't want to say at the mercy, but we are, it's not at the mercy. Remember how I talked about how the cosmic events are what are assisting us in our awakening. I'm just going to talk about ascension. Well, awakening, same thing. But I mean, the ascension journey is the moving up, right, into the dimensional space of higher consciousness through the awakening journey. But point is we are assisted by the cosmos. And they always say, look up. We're assisted by the cosmos. But I'm most particularly getting now that the sun is like a game changer for us with these solar flares. And so our body has to adjust to those energies coming in. We shift and change cellularly as they come in, but it has to be a gradual approach. Honestly, if it was a full-blown, I don't know, the one big solar blast, I think we'd be annihilated, or we wouldn't be able to emotionally and mentally handle it. I think it's different. Maybe in the past it's been one big event and, when civilizations came and went, but again, that's another thing I don't know a lot about, although I'm going to reference a Netflix show, which is, well, I'll just do it now, which is really fantastic. And again, it was another one of those weird coincidences, synchronicities that showed up after Jennifer and I started talking about the 26,000 year cycle in our last video, is Graham Hancock's Netflix show, Ancient Apocalypse, which is fantastic. It's just fantastic. It's so interesting, just him traveling to the places he's at. So you might enjoy that. But I just want you to know that what I'm very much seeing at this point is the sun is key to this moving forward. The sun is what I'm getting. And it cycles and it flares. So with that, we've kind of started this, and what they've shown me. Well, let's just kind of move into March, okay? We're just going to move into March. So that was February, all right? That was really kind of what's starting in February. And I can tell there's been a shift and change in my focus, I will tell you. So however February has manifested itself in your journey. It'll be different than what mine is. It doesn't mean you're going to all of a sudden be focused on the cosmos too, right? But there's an upliftment energy for you to move into something, for a door to open, a door open or a door close. Okay, that's how this works. It's kind of like a fun house of mirrors, or doors open, doors closed. And there's a couple of doors, right? So let's just go into the space of looking at March and see what we can get. Okay, they just said upliftment energy will continue through okay, what we call spring in the northern hemisphere, through fall in the southern. Okay. They just said the equinox is an important milestone. I guess that might be obvious. I don't know. But in what way are we talking about? Energetically speaking. Okay, I don't know what this means. They keep, okay, yeah, all right. They're talking about an event will occur. I don't know if this is, once again, remember, I don't know if this is just energetic. I don't say just energetic, but, doesn't manifest, right? But what this does is it also shifts and changes what we do, what we choose to focus on. And so it's not just like me, for example, all of a sudden I'm focused on the cosmos. But everybody's affected. Our world leaders are affected. Everybody's affected by this in their own way, right? And so that then what happens is things start clicking into place differently across the collective, okay? Kind of like a big old puzzle, like a jigsaw puzzle is what they're showing me. Oh my gosh, and it takes all of us, even people you don't think are involved. I mean, everybody's involved, right? Regardless of whether they're just totally unconsciously unconscious or wide awake, right? So we're all affected by this in some way. And what they're saying is it's cogs in the wheel, pieces of the puzzle will be continued to be framed up and put together. I just said it again, doors open and doors close. But they're talking about significance of the equinox. I don't know. Again, I'm just going to say, can solar flares be predicted? I have no idea. I mean, I think I said that last time because I still don't know. But, humanly predicted. But upliftment energy between now and the equinox, and I get this rocketing off feel. Whoa. Okay. I'm getting an untethered, very light, very out-of-body feel. What does that even mean? They just said it's the kind of energy that's coming in. Oh, okay. They're kind of talking about like rock your world kind of energy of, now remember, when I say that, I'm getting more of a like you might not feel here, like you're here. Because I'm kind of feeling now what they're trying to help me understand to tell you, because that's kind of what happens to me. It's a very floaty, very collapsing doors, narrow focus, feeling spacey. Time, again, is going to continue. I think you know how February was just, I don't know what happened, where February went. But needless to say, closing, opening doors, but this energy is going to make us feel like, I don't know how to explain what they're giving me. It's going to make us feel like, they're trying to show me like where no time and space exists. That we may feel like that on occasion in our day. Now we may already kind of feel like that, right? But what I'm getting is an enhancement of that. And this has to do with what's happening cosmically, what Jennifer and I talked about. They're really bringing this in. The closing of doors. Now, mind you, this is cosmically. The narrowing down, the opening of some. But I'm very, very much getting, this is a different feeling energy, a continued upliftment, but we're not used to this. All right? We're not used to this. And everybody's going to feel it a little bit differently, but we're going to have moments in time. I think you're going to be more fatigued. I'm just going to say it feels like it with the, they just said multiple flares, multiple sun events, multiple. I'm assuming they will be able to be registered. We'll see them register them. Those of you who read about solar flares, I don't know. But there's okay, they just talked about, how this, here's what they're saying. So what will happen with these energies that are coming in and changing and shifting, because it does feel like a lot of spring energies, renewal energy, okay? It's going to irritate some people that are unconsciously unconscious, right? And I'm going to do a video on those three stages. But point is it's going to irritate a lot of people. And with some, what's going to happen, because remember, when we're in our higher vibration or higher frequency, when those energies come in, we're more compatible with it than somebody who's totally unconsciously unconscious, not living. They're further apart, away from it, right, in the sense of how it's going to integrate with them. So it doesn't feel good. And it's going to agitate and irritate, and they're not going to know what's going on. Whereas with us, as we continue to rise in frequency and vibration and do our work in the awakening and rise in consciousness and come from our heart space in what we do, learn to like and love and all that, right, ourselves. What starts to happen is we start to be able to integrate those energies, I'll just say more subtly, maybe with less effect, but some of these are quite big that are coming in. But the point is comparatively speaking. So other people that aren't aware, they're not going to know what to do with these energies, and they don't really know these are even happening, right? So in that sense, what we very likely will see is this. Wow, it's kind of the same story of this. Bombardment of, they just said plasma rays. Okay, plasma rays, they just said substrate. What is substrate? Is that land? I have no idea. I'm going to quit trying to analyze. I do a lot of that, trying to analyze. Into the substrate, into the atmosphere that will uplift all of humankind. Wow, okay, well, I think we're in a big place these next couple months. But they just said, but it will agitate and irritate those who have not found their way. Okay, but then they're also showing people that climbing a ladder, climbing out kind of the abyss, kind of, we use a lot of that kind of climbing out of the chasm, where they're going to get this upliftment energy, and all of a sudden, this is interesting, all of a sudden those who are starting to make the move to higher consciousness or staying out of the muck or whatever the choices they've made that things no longer serve them, and they're moving more into their self-awareness, they're going to get a hand up. They're showing this, like they're kind of coming out of and then all this energy shows up, and that's what's going to happen is they're just going to get lifted up, kind of like all of a sudden you're going up a ladder and you're kind of struggling, and then all of a sudden somebody's hands are like, come on, we're just going to pull you up now. That's what I'm getting. And that's the solar situation, cosmic. I'm just going to say cosmic energy, but they keep showing the sun, is this upliftment that we're going to be offered continually now, which we will be able to integrate more. Okay, they just said successfully, versus those who are in the unconscious awareness stage. It's going to just agitate and irritate them in many ways. But it can also pull some people who are on the fence, they just said, and this isn't conscious stuff, remember, on the fence over to, I'll just say the light side, the awakening journey, the becoming more aware, that stop doing the things that don't serve them, all of that. I think there's a huge shift as a result of that through the number of people that we're going to see open up and wake up in the next 2 months. March feels like they just said a significant energetic time for all of humanity. How you choose to participate in what is offered is what you will see to be as your destiny to come. Okay, so I don't know what that means, but this is all energy I'm getting. All energy. I'm really out of my body right now. Like, once again, I cannot feel the seat I am sitting on. Okay, they're going to talk. Greater awareness will come in multiple ways, in pockets across humankind. They will wake up because of events. Okay, so these events that are occurring are going to wake up more people. Again, I keep going into what I saw last time was a like groups of people are going to become more aware, which also leads them to make choices. They keep saying it's groups, make different choices as groups, like coming together. When more people are waking up and being able to find other people are waking up, and maybe that's but I think it's just in general, people who are going through certain situations are going to, I keep seeing them join arms and come together. It's like an uprising. I mean, like wanting knowledge, wanting to be aware, wanting the truth is what I'm getting. Wanting fairness, wanting dignity. Now we can argue that's always been going on, but there's something really happening now that is occurring with spring. They just brought in the words the Arab Spring for me. I'm not saying that's it again, but there's something similar. It feels like a lot of people in what I keep saying spring. For those of you in the northern or southern hemisphere, I apologize, but that's just my reality. So I'm going to say spring. Spring hemisphere or spring hemisphere. In our spring is what I'm getting is a collective kind of in pockets of like the coming together, almost of a collective mission that souls are on, and it's going to happen in pockets versus like. But it's all the same thing. It's all connected through light workers and people who are waking up. They don't even may not necessarily know it, but you know how that works. Our soul will work through us even if we are unconsciously unconscious, right? Yeah, but when we really become unconsciously unconscious, when we move into the next stage, the unconsciously conscious, that's where things start changing for us. And then when we're really aware, we're consciously conscious. And that's when we see it for what it's worth, right? We understand, we go through this journey, but pockets of humankind I'm getting. I also want to make a quick comment. In February, this was really bizarre, was the Caucasus region came up. When I looked at global situations, collective, I saw the Caucasus region, but they didn't say anything more about that. It felt like something political. I don't know if I said that or not. About a week later, something was brought to my attention to Google Caucasus region. Because honestly, I was like, where is that? I mean, I kind of know, but I didn't know. Oh my gosh. 3 days after I had posted the video for February, Russia was meddling in that region more significantly, which is interesting. And there's been some underlying energies there that are just waiting to, and when I say energies, it's like there's something going on there. There's something very big going on in that region, and it's energetic. It's, it's not just what we see on the surface. There's, they just said collaborative. I don't think it's what we could all say, well, of course it's not what we see on the surface, but it's bigger than it's a cosmic. We talked once about Russia and a Stargate or a gateway in the Ukraine, but this is, oh God, remember when I said this expanded regionally? I said this, if you remember, this is coming back to me. They had said to me, I kept seeing the region, that things were regionally, and now this was what was February was when they said the Caucasus, because it's that region that makes sense. So there's something expanding out there. I guess we're going geopolitical now, so we're just across the world. So let's just take a look at what we see, anything happening. Okay, they're talking about more water events. We have had some water events that I've been made aware of, but I don't know if that ties to that. Water is a significant presence right now. I know Brazil had flooding. We've had in the United States some terrible water situations in Ohio because of train wrecks and chemical spillage. Again, I don't know if there's just one thing, but I'm getting water events, like the water wants to clear, I keep seeing it looking very shining and shimmering and beautiful and rejuvenating itself. I want to make a note. Sorry, I have something in my eye. I want to make a note. I want to come back to water. If I don't remember, somebody remind me for next time. A water practice that is powerful, that I came up with on my own. So, anyway, as I keep trying to get something out of my eye, I'm going to keep talking. So they're showing crystal clear blue water. They're showing like a cenote. Did I say this before? They're showing. I think I said this in a a session with a client. They're showing like a cenote. They're showing the beautiful clear crystal water. Wow, why is that coming in for this March energy update? They're showing that kind of water. They're showing that kind of water. Now, I believe cenotes can. Okay, they're connected into the inner earth, is what they're talking about. I feel like we're all over the place today. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we talked about water. I was trying to look at what's going on. I was talking about the water events that have actually occurred. They keep showing water, but they're showing beautiful, clear, crystal water. Why? They're showing cenotes, if you know what those are, down in Central Mexico and Central America, I think. They just said crystal clear blue water will rise up. Okay, clearing itself. What does that even mean? Where's that coming from? They're showing waterfalls. It's showing all kinds of things. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. But water is a theme again. So remember, from one month to another, we can, it's not just everything's different one month to the next. We continue on with a lot of these themes. Solar's big again. We keep getting upliftment energy. I do see this all positive, but it doesn't always feel like it, right? And we see in pockets of the world where it just doesn't feel good. It's just difficult. Lots of things have been difficult. Let's look at the world. Let's just look at the world. And remember when I said too, I think I said this back in December or November. I made some reference to. It's almost not worth asking about Earth events, because these Earth events are going to continue to happen. They are a given. They are a given. So, you can argue, but water's come in, and more significantly. But what I also want to mention is I've talked about Earth events, and we had talked also about the U.S. I kept seeing split down the middle. I still don't know what that means. Let's just see. They're talking about waterways. What does that mean? They're talking about clearing out the waterways, Earth events. There are going to be more earthquakes. I'm just going to tell you that now. That seems obvious, but it's very clear in the visual they're giving. There are going to be more earthquakes. It feels like many more earthquakes. I guess my question now is, do solar events, they do cause stress on Earth, but the solar events, what I'm getting, are actually a healthful thing for Earth, the Earth herself, Gaia. But what happens is then that solar, because it's alive, right? The sun's alive, the Earth's alive, and so what the solar's doing is it's coming in, it hits Earth, and then she's got to integrate too, all of that, because it's all about the health of the Earth, right? So there's a lot coming for her, which she then will react just like we do. We're sensitive energy bodies. So is she. So there's just a lot going on in the natural ways, is what I will say. It feels like this is just going to collectively rise up in all different kinds of ways. I'm just seeing a lot of different things, and a lot has to do with water. I don't know why they brought in cenotes, but they're trying to show me the color of the water. Okay, so I'm going to come back to the individual. We're just going to go global now. I want to know if you can show me anything. Okay, they just said you have to be aware. Remember, it's not what we see on the surface or what we read or in the news. You have to be aware of Russia, Ukraine, and the Caucasus region. That region. They keep showing that region. There is something significant here. And it's, okay, they're just talking about a Stargate or some kind of, honestly, I've started to realize that nearly everything that happens that looks like war and all of that and all these things that we do to each other, it's like a power grab for the cosmos, and it's so much more than we know. It's so much more than we know. But what I'm very much getting is watching that region, there's something going on with it's a bigger part now, like that whole area. They won't let me leave that area. That's the area they keep showing me. Talking about significant events. I wonder, it makes me wonder what is beneath those regions, the inner earth area, and what is it that is needed there. And yeah, you can argue, okay, minerals, oil, I don't know, that. There's something more. There's something more. This is starting to become I'll just say, and it maybe has been for longer than we know, like a cosmic battle, I will say. And we may all have kind of known that anyway, even though everything we receive, it looks like it's all has to do with just human ego grabbing of the riches. That's in there too, but it's bigger than that. It's honestly what I'm getting. This sounds like a trippy energy update. I just give you what I get. It's almost who's going to gain control over the cosmic connections. I don't know. We just got to watch and see and learn and keep doing our work. So okay, so is there any other part of the world to be aware of? Okay, they just said Antarctica. What? Yes? Connection. Okay, we might know this, but they just said there's a lot of work going on down there. Yeah, it's like they said in the dark. Yeah, because nobody talks about that, right? What's going on down in Antarctica. But what I'm very much getting is, okay, they're talking about, I don't know if this is just March, but I'm just going to go with it. I don't know when this is going to happen. But they're talking about great discoveries, and there's things that are going to be, they just said we're going to be enlightened. But it's not going to be, you know how it is. We don't get the straight story all the time, but the straight story is going to start coming from other places. You can't get it's coming from other places. Because, you think about it, everybody has a cell phone now, right? They take pictures, they see things. That's kind of that kind of idea, or it's more like leaking. It's more like, but Antarctica is going to bear her fruit, I just heard. Oh my God. I don't know when this is, though. I don't know if this is March or something's going to happen in March. So we've got those two areas. I want to see if there's anything else we need to be aware of. I am getting, the whole idea of just events across the world with respect to Earth is continuing. So what I'll always try to do is give some sense of where these things might happen. It's not like I'm trying to predict those events, but just to give you a sense of what I'm seeing. But there's definitely water. But when they talk about water, like the situation in the United States, it was pollution of water, right? The situation in Brazil was flooding, like massive floodings. And so, massive flooding. So water events, but they just said a sign of the times to come. It's like there's messages in those events. If we wake up and understand, there's messages in those events that they're talking about turn of events, changes, rather than just, the event happens and we move on. Like, that's not going to happen anymore. They're turn of events is what they're talking. Tide change, they're talking. It's kind of the seeing what you don't want, and then actually making a shift and change in it, and being able to do that, because we're being uplifted with these energies. We're getting a voice now, even though sometimes it probably doesn't feel like it, but we are as a collective. So let's just talk individually, and we talked a little bit about this, but we're going to, they're saying it's continued upliftment energy. It's almost like we're holding our breath, though, because there's a lot of shift and change. Of course, we have our moon events always, but they're very much talking about the solar situation between now and they're going through March, they're going through April. It's a lifting off. The equinox is a lifting off. It's very bright in March. I just see lots of sun. Don't know what that means. That doesn't. I'm not predicting the weather for you in your location, But it feels like a lot of sun events, a lot of light, a lot. It feels like a really good March, though. Again, remember, it's not gonna. It doesn't always look like that on the surface. But what I'm getting, that's for light workers, for those working on their journey, like really committing to their journey. And we've talked about how we do that, right? Like we don't turn a blind eye to, oh, the awakening's here. Well, I'm not doing this, because you can, right? So we go through the tough times. We go through the healing. We go through the opening our heart. We go through the, taking care of the three bodies. We go through what shows up and become more self-aware and become higher consciousness, and we do that out of our heart space for ourselves and then others. And as we do that, we rise in frequency and vibration. So what we're getting is we're getting paired up with this beautiful energy that's coming in to support us, okay, as we do our work. March is so full of sun and beauty. What I would say is recognize this. Try to recognize the sun if you're not already doing that. I do a cool little thing primarily in the spring, summer, and fall. It's a little hard to get outside now, but I always greet the sun in the morning. I sit and have my coffee on my deck, and I say, good morning, sun. I actually talk to it, and it talks back. I know, but it does. And it's just a beautiful thing to thank it for what it does for us. I want to talk about water. Let me give you this. Let me finish with the individual journey. So what we want to do is, what they're really very much saying is, thank the energies coming in, thank the solar events, thank the flares, thank all of that. Of course, we have a lot of people going through a lot of struggles. We have our own individual struggles, but we're being uplifted as we do our work. Just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep committing to becoming more self-aware, committing to being loving and kind, committing to yourself and to others, committing to doing what serves you and shedding what doesn't. Committing, they're saying, to yourself. Because when you start to commit to yourself and then you come into that full space of awareness and understanding of what you've built for yourself, now you're free to really give that beauty to others. And that's what being a light worker is, right? We got to shine the light on ourselves first, and then we give our light, right? So keep doing that. I am getting also the recognition of the sun for you. If you do anything else, you want to add a little something into your day. And I'm going to give you a water ritual. I don't know what you want to call it, but it just showed up for me. And I am not a big ritual ceremony person. I'm just not. I'd like to be, but it's just not my thing. But anyway, as it turns out, oh my gosh, you can do this when you're in the shower or taking like an Epsom salt bath or whatever. So giving gratitude to what we have is so important in our journey. However, I started realizing I want to give gratitude to the water, because water's struggling so much now. If you think about water and how we get our water, it is unnatural. It is in an unnatural state, traveling through pipes and having to, be squeezed through to show up and get cleaned and everything. And it's just struggling to get to us, right? It's not its natural state. So I started to recognize this, and I sat in the bathtub, because I take Epsom salt baths about 3 times a week. And you do this deeply, and you will be taken somewhere else. You will be one with water. I know that sounds a little trippy potentially, but it's the most beautiful thing. What I do is I sit there and I just put my hands in the water, and I just deeply think about where it's been all over the world. And I think, where have you been? Think of where you came from, the traveling you've done over this whole world to get to me, to allow me to be with you, to allow me to be with you, water. You will now go and be released to go elsewhere at some point. But it's been through such struggle. And it continues to, even when it goes out, right? And it goes out even into the natural ways. The pollution goes on and on and on, right? So what I realized is I went really deeply and thought about the water and thought about how alive it is and how beautiful it is and what it's doing for me and allowing me to soak in and allowing me to drink it, or the water we drink. And so what I did was I gave it my light. Think about it. That's what we do. We give light to others, right? We give light to nature. So in that bathtub, I was like, I give you my light to take with you to become healthy and full. I give you my light. I give you my light. And I'm going to tell you, I just let that water run through my hands, and I would just lift it up, and I would go deep into it, like kind of like a meditation, just of being the water, understanding the water, becoming one with the water. Okay? It's kind of like that visualization exercise I did in one of my videos where you get a National Geographic picture because they're so cool, right? And full of color and activity, and you become you become the picture, and then you do all the whole thing. You can do that with water. You can become the water and like just be one with the water, but give it your light, give it your light, give it your energy, to give it health, because it's going back out. So, and I'm going to tell you, you can do it with your shower too. When it comes down on you, you can just spend a few moments and just thank it, give it gratitude. Be the water, okay? Be the water, and then just give it your light and just bless it on its way out. It is super powerful. So that is my little water ritual I am doing now, and you will be, if you spend time with it, you will be taken somewhere else, is what I will tell you. You will be the water. Because remember, we're all one. We're ultimately all one. Not just humans, right? Everything. And you can be the water. And I'm going to tell you right now, in some other incarnation, you've been water, right? We are water, right? But the point is you've likely had the experience of being the consciousness of water at some point. I know that might sound a little trippy for those of you who are just starting this journey, but ultimately, those are the kinds of opportunities we have. And we, this time around, are, we do live multiple existences at the same time. You're just consciously aware of this one right now. But the point is we have had many, 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 many other kinds of experiences other than just human. So I think we're going to wrap up for today. Just quickly summarizing, we're seeing water, cenotes, beautiful blue water, a lot of water things going on, events going on, continued Earth events, Caucasus region, Russia, Ukraine. There's something else going on, and it's very big. It's that region. It's the land. It's the land. It's what's under the land. It's the land. Again, entry points. I don't know. If any of you know anything and want to share it, feel free. We got the Antarctica piece. We've got, don't know what's going on there. Can this may unfold over the year? And of course, the other part is some of this isn't going to make front page news necessarily, right? I don't know. But we are also being continually uplifted. Like March is massive for light. Massive for light. And we have the equinox. So do a little recognition on the equinox. Do a little recognition. It makes a difference. All right? It makes a difference. It makes a difference when we participate. That's what this journey is about, is participating. Right? Participating in our cosmic events. They are super important. They are what makes this world go round. Okay? So with that, I think I'm going to finish up. And I never did introduce myself. For those of you who are new to me, I'm Carolyn. I am a channel. I'm a distance energy healer, and I'm a spiritual awakening mentor. And I bring through information for you in all of these services that I have through purplerainhealing.com. So go check it out. Go check out all of my services. I would love to work with you. My one-on-one mentoring for spiritual awakening or your life journey is super popular. That's primarily what I do most of in my day-to-day. So I get to know you and you get to know me, and we work together. I help you on your journey forward. I bring through channeled information. I also give you practical advice as well in your day-to-day. But we also talk about past, present, future, and your cosmic self. So with that today, I hope you will join me in the next video and check out my services again, purplerainhealing.com, if you would like to work with me as well. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.